Alrighty guys, this video I'm going to go over how to make a coil pot. I made this one a few minutes ago just to kind of show you what we're starting to go for. I am expecting us to probably make these about 8 inches. If you want to go a little bit taller in class, you can. And I'm just going to go over some basic techniques of how to get started, the different types of coils you could make, and all of that. So I'm going to start out with a flat slab of clay like this. I already have the slab roller set to a 1/2 inch. And what you're going to want to do is you're just going to want to go in on both sides and smooth the clay out to get rid of any of the canvas marks. So then I'm going to flip it over and I'm just going to smooth the other side so that most of those bumps aren't there. It's going to look really nice, really smooth, no matter which side you work with. After that, you're going to find something that looks circular. I usually like to start these out circular. If you want to make a square or an oval, you are absolutely more than welcome to. It is your project. But for this demo, I am going to go with a circle because for your first coil pot, I feel like that's what people usually choose. So you're just going to trace around it and then go in with a pin tool, with an X-Acto tool, and you're just going to cut that circle out the best you can. So now I have my circle. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pick it up off the table. I might even recommend doing this on a board because once you roll a slab out on the table, it does tend to stick to it. So my bad on that part. You'll notice that you do have some little edges that need smoothing. So you're going to want to just go in, smooth all those up, and try to get it as circular as you can, or whichever shape you choose. If you want to do a square one, that's totally fine as well. And just go in, touch it up, make sure it's nice and pretty and smooth. So the next step is actually going and making the coils. I'm going to rest this to the side. You do not have to use slabs of clay to make coils. I'm just going to take this because this is what I had extra from cutting out the base. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take the clay between your hands and you're going to want to really compress it together. What that's going to do is that's going to get rid of any of the air bubbles that might be trapped inside the clay, and it's also going to keep you from getting seams when you go to roll your coils out. So I would actually start to make almost like a coil shape before you roll it out. It's going to make it easier for you. Lay it down on the table, and you're going to want to roll it starting at your fingertips, going all the way back to the palm of your hand. If you just roll it going side to side like that, it's going to start to flatten out on you, and you're going to struggle a little bit. So you're going to start with your fingertips and just kind of roll it starting in the center to kind of flatten it. What that is doing is it's flattening it, and it's also pushing the clay out to the sides. You'll notice that the sides start to get thicker. So you're going from the inside and then you're going to work your way out. And this is going to spread the clay out to help you make a nice long coil. If you feel like some of the parts start getting a little bit thicker and uneven, you can kind of just go in and address those as you need to. One other thing I also find that could sometimes be a problem is the ends here. Sometimes they just start to get too thick. If that happens to you, you could just kind of pinch them off and then just go ahead and finish rolling your coil. So this is the basics on how to make a coil. I already rolled a bunch out and I'm going to teach you guys how you can make different shapes. I'm probably just going to go over the basic shapes. If you find something else online or come up with your own idea, I absolutely recommend you go for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring back my little base I have here. And for this project, it's going to be all about slip and score. Because we're not really smoothing anything together, that your slip and your score marks are going to be what's keeping your pot together. So I'm going to go ahead in and I'm just going to make my little score marks. They don't have to be perfect, just so that they're in there. You're also going to go in with your coil and just make a few of those as well. Then just add to one side, like I did with the pinch pot project, some slip. And you're just going to go ahead and you're going to start to stick that coil on there. Now you're only going to want to do one coil per level if you are looking for a pot that is symmetrical. The reason for that being is if you just went and started to overlap that, I don't know if you guys could see, but there is a small space in between there. So I like to kind of break them off. Make sure you smooth those two pieces together. And then there you go, you have your first coil on there. So the next thing I want to go over is how you can start making a shape, how you could start getting it to go out, and also how you could start getting it to come in. So I'm just going to do a small example. So if you want your coils starting to go out, you're going to start slowly resting whatever shapes you choose to make towards the outside of your pot. And I'm just going to use this little piece to show you. You could see that it's gradually going to bring your piece outward. If you want to start going in, maybe towards the top of your piece, you're just going to slowly rest your coil going inside. And as you build up, maybe, I don't know, 3, 4 tiers, you will be able to bring it in thinner or either bring it out wider. So that's the basics for that. So I'm going to go ahead in with some of these coils I already previously had rolled, and I'm going to show you guys the different things you can make. The first one is these little swirly guys you see in there, and they're really, really simple. All you're doing, and I'm going to bring this a little bit closer and so you guys could see, all you're going to be doing with these is taking a piece of coil and just kind of folding it in on itself. And you could make the spirals as large or as tiny as you want. You could also vary them. What you're going to want to do so you could attach it easier to your coil pot is you're going to want to take your finger and you're going to want to kind of push and slice it. That way you create a nice flat bottom. That's going to help you go in and attach it to your coil pot a little bit better because you have a nice flat bottom piece. For these, you are going to want to slip and score them as well. If you want to do a bunch of these and kind of build up a whole wall of them, you can. You could really do anything you want. It doesn't have to be completely symmetrical. And I'm going to show you a bunch of examples in class if you guys want to start to kind of stack these on each other and create some interesting patterns. One other thing you could do, like I added it on here, are some little balls of clay if you want to put some little different shapes in there. I've had people do little squares or triangles or things like that in the past. So I'm going to put these aside. Another technique you could do is you could go ahead and make some twists. So you're simply going to pitch the clay together and then you are going to just wrap it around itself. You're going to want to make sure that you hold it pretty firm and then really make sure you're tucking and compressing those coils together as you go. And I'm sorry, I don't know if that was quite on video. So I'm wrapping and then I'm going to wrap over it again really tight. And you are kind of compressing these a little bit as you go, but not so much to flatten it out. So that would be your basic twist, and you could make that. Another thing you could do, just like the twist, is you could go ahead and you could actually make braids, just like you would braid your hair. So you're going to start it the same exact way. You're going to start, instead of 2 pieces like you did with the twist, with 3 pieces. So you're going to pinch them together, make sure you have a nice, firm base that they're all attached, and then you're just going to braid them over like you would hair. Be careful with this and be delicate with it because your coils will get a little bit fragile, especially as you're keeping them rested on the side. And just like the twist, make sure you are compressing them together. Now, once you make pieces like this, you could attach them to your coil pot just like you would a regular coil. You could feel free to play around with some designs. If the first day you work on this, you feel like you're struggling a little bit, it's okay to scrap it and start fresh. I do that all the time with a lot of different projects that I work on. So, feel free to take the first day as practice. Coils are a little bit challenging for some people at first, but I think as you get used to them, you will start to like them. So, this is going to be an exposed coil pot project because you're actually going to be seeing the coils that you're making. For our next project, we're going to be smoothing the coils together. The reason I want you guys to have an exposed coil pot for this project is to really begin to perfect your technique of coil making. The last one I'm going to show you is a pretty popular one, and pretty much what it is it's making zigzags or kind of like these swirl shapes with the clay. And all you're doing is kind of folding it and pinching it together, and then going the other direction, and the same thing, pinching it. If you feel like they're not holding together that well, you can add some slip and score to them, but I would use a really long coil to make these because they are taking up so much space as you twist them. Like I said, these were the ones I kind of had on my mind while I was making this video. There are a whole bunch of other techniques you can use. If you want to sculpt any elements onto the outside or in between your coils, you could do that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video now. I encourage you guys to, do some research online, start to sketch up some ideas, and then you could go ahead and get started. Important things to remember: make sure that you slip and score all of your coils and additional pieces onto your project, and you should be all ready to get started. Alrighty, finished of this video. Bye-bye.